A gravely ill young woman, aged 19, diagnosed with a rare mitochondrial disorder, is fighting an attempt by the NHS to push her into end-of-life care. The young girl, known as ST within the courtroom, as well as her family, have protested that the removal of treatment and full-time hospital care. However, the 19-year-old's capacity was brought into question by judges after the patient made it clear she wanted to seek further life-saving treatment in North America. The court branded her delusional for refusing to accept her imminent death, and the judge ruled against the young lady's capacity to make her own decisions. The patient's disorder now requires regular dialysis treatment, feeding through a gastrostomy tube and a ventilator in order to breathe. This move to palliative care would see her die relatively soon. Despite protests from the patient and her family, the judge has ruled it is now the decision of the court to end the life of this young lady. Now, you may remember, nearly 10 years ago, the King family, who were arrested under a European arrest warrant because they disagreed with their doctors and wanted pioneering and ultimately successful protein beam treatment for their son. They wanted to take their son to the Czech Republic. The experts said it wouldn't work, but it did. And the experts aren't always right. I'm very grateful to Hollie Dance, the mother of Archie Battersbee, for joining me this evening after the struggle she had against the doctor's orders to turn off the life support of her son. Hollie, thanks so much for coming in. It's very brave of you when you went through every parent's worst nightmare. But surely it's parents who should decide for their children, not courts, when you can't be sure that the doctors always get it right.
And that's the thing. I do believe that the parents should have some say, or family members should have some say in the outcome and the decision, but it's very much all the power is within the NHS and the court systems.
And you felt that from very early on, that you wanted
Yes.
extra treatment and simply were told that that wasn't possible, and then when you pushed for it, were taken to court.
Yeah. Well, we was taken to court for the brainstem testing because we refused to go ahead with the brainstem test. That was why we was originally taken to court, and then it was changed and went to best interests. So they moved swiftly onto the best interest, leaving us no options.
But who is likely to have the best interests of a child at heart, the parents or an essentially faceless bureaucratic system?
The parents.
The parents. And in this case that we've got in front of us now, the young lady concerned can actually speak for herself.
Exactly. She's got full mental capacity that has been given by 2 psychiatrists. She's been assessed, and obviously those psychiatrists, I'm assuming, are very qualified to do their job, but it seems it's only if it fits with the narrative of the NHS that those psychiatrists would obviously be listened to.
And there's a great reluctance, isn't there, to allow people to go outside the NHS to try and have alternative treatment. And this was the case with the King family. They wanted to have a pioneering treatment in the Czech Republic. And the NHS doctor said this will fail. And the police actually arrested the family under a European arrest warrant. And then the treatment was successful. And the Lancet and various other reports have said that, yes, this is now a treatment that is thought to be a good treatment and was more successful than other treatments would have been. So they've had to admit that they were wrong, but they don't like any doubting of the NHS system.
No, they don't. I think you've got the Safida Rakib case as well. She went abroad and obviously the NHS were wrong in that case. We didn't get the chance. We were refused from the word go, really. We wasn't allowed to go to 2 other countries that offered Archie help.
And there was a plan for Archie, wasn't there, to take him abroad, and there was a lot of international support for what you were trying to do.
Lots of support. Just not in this country. Well, we've got support in this country, just not, obviously, with the NHS and the court system. I think the system failed Archie. And
it's a very big system, isn't it? Because the hospital trusts have budgets that they can afford to go to court. You are a parent, essentially, on your own. It's very hard to fight back against this.
It's very hard, and I think in a lot of the cases, the first thing that the NHS do is put on the reporting restrictions. For whatever reason, these restrictions come into place immediately. It's the first thing that they attempt to do. Obviously, we managed to bypass that one. So we did get public support and we were able to push public funding should we be allowed to take Archie abroad or get medical treatment or rehab. But in this case, again, this girl, this family can't do anything like that because reporting restrictions have been put straight on.
And reporting restrictions are quite sinister, aren't they? Because justice that is carried out in private isn't real justice.
No.
Fortunately, members of Parliament can always raise things in Parliament, and there's nothing the courts can do about it. So if there's anyone watching who's in this situation, just go to their member of Parliament who is always allowed to raise it on the floor of the House, and that overrules any court order. And I think you're so right that the more people know about this and the powers courts are taking, the more they're going to want families to be able to choose.
Well, this is the thing. I think with the reporting restrictions, what they're doing is they're stopping the public finding out about it, and it is of public interest, and the public do have a right to know about it. A lot of the time in these cases, it is our basic human rights that are being taken away.
And the idea that it's protecting the child is nonsensical because, I mean, Archie was not in a position to be hearing about what was being reported about him, and therefore if the parents are happy with the reporting, it should clearly be in the public domain.
Definitely.
Well, Hollie, look, I think it's just so brave of you
Thank you.
to come on to talk about this because people need to know that the courts and hospitals can be wrong.